good with the fam? How's everybody doing tonight? Drop some sevens in the chat. Keep them coming for Bailey. I appreciate you for opening up the call. She's one of the top leaders out there in Portland. Is crushing it. And to see her work ethic every single day, I know for a fact that she's taking this thing all the way to the top. And guys, I'm excited to talk today about the spiritual side of success. I believe that 20% of success is the physical side. And I'm that guy who's in your face telling you, yo, you need to put in the work. So don't get me wrong. But 80%, in my opinion, of your success is going to be the spiritual side of success. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and then we can jump right into the information, guys. So check this out. We always talk about the law of attraction. We always talk about that you attract what you are, who you are, what everything about most. Nothing in life is a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. You are where you are today 100% due to your past ways of thinking. Everything is energy, and all energy attracts its equal. And I 100% believe in that. But a primary law is the law of vibration. And whatever energy that you have, whatever frequency that you're operating on, you're going to attract the people, the places, the things that you need to get to that next level. And that is what we're going to be talking about, is 3 keys to raise your vibration. So essentially, you can attract whatever it is that you want. If y'all are ready, drop a 222 in the chat, and we're going to go ahead and get this thing started right now. So check this out. Let me open up the chat box 1 second. Perfect. So number 1, we're going to be talking about letting go. Number 2, we're going to be talking about the law of assumption. And number 3, we're going to talk about acting as if. So let's jump into it and get the ball rolling, guys. So first and foremost, number 1 is letting go. What is letting go? Letting go involves being aware of a feeling, letting it come up, staying with it, and letting it run its course without wanting to do anything about it. You're releasing the energetic charge behind an emotion, behind a thought, behind an experience. Now, I have a few things I want to break down on this particular subject, and let's go ahead and talk about it. So, people think about becoming successful. They want to be more, have more, do more to become successful. But a large part of success is not about becoming, it's actually about unbecoming. It's actually about letting go. What do I mean? What I mean is, if you can let go of the past, if you can let go of negative emotions, if you can let go of limiting beliefs, guess what? Automatically you're going to go from where you are to the next level. If that makes sense, drop a yes in the chat box. Now, another way to explain it is that normal does not equal natural. Normal in society is 85% of people that have a job hate their job. They're not happy. Normal in society is that 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. Normal in society is most people are out of shape. We can all agree on that. But normal is not natural. That's not the real you. That's not who you really are. That's not how you were born. Think about when you were born. When you were born in great health, chances are. You were born happy, this expansive ball of energy. You were born with this abundance. You could have or do whatever you want. You didn't have limiting beliefs. That is the real you. But what happens? What happens is because of social conditioning, because of your environment, because of your parents, teachers, friends, family, the people around you, you essentially become a product of your environment. They say that your personality is formed from ages like 5 to 7 years old. Isn't that interesting? That someone's whole personality is formed within those first few years. Why is that? Answer is because there's a difference between your subconscious mind, which controls everything, and your conscious mind. And when you're born, guess what? Your subconscious mind is wide open. And it does not have the ability to reject, it must accept. So whatever ideas are planted in the subconscious mind are accepted as true, even if they're not true. So those limiting beliefs, you basically inherit them. And what ends up happening, more specifically, is we all experience trauma. Some on a bigger level, some on a smaller level. And you might be thinking on this call, I had a great upbringing. We think of trauma, we think of going to war, getting PTSD, coming back, right? But trauma is any time you have a life-threatening experience. But when you're a kid, guess what? You have a very limited perspective. So as an example, I could go to the grocery store with my parents. I could be in line, and I could be, I'm a kid in this scenario, right? I could be yelling at the top of my lungs, because that's what kids do, and then my parents might scream at me, right? And then what happens is I interpret that when I'm younger, these adults who are responsible for my survival, right, are yelling at me, right? I take that as in they don't love me and that they might abandon me. And then what happens is I feel like my survival is threatened. And so what do? You take that part of you that's loud and you put it in the corner. You take that part of you that's loud and you suppress it. You take that part of you that is loud and essentially you know, like I said, just put it in the corner. And you live, and here you are 10, 20, 30 years later, living the exact same way. Now, if you've ever heard Chris Terry talk, the CEO of this company, his signature talk, he always talks about letting go. And he calls it energetic inflammation. He calls like these traumatic experiences, social conditioning, all these things, he calls it energetic inflammation. And the truth is there's something called the split within. Drop a 1 in the chat if you feel in one area of your life or another that you know what you should be doing and you're just not doing it. It might be in this business, it might be in your health, it might be in your relationships. You know what you should be doing, but you're just not doing it. Or you know what you shouldn't be doing and you're doing it anyways. But there's something inside of you that's not allowing you to take the action. Consciously, you know what you should do. Subconsciously, there's this energetic inflammation. There's something within you that's holding you back from your potential. So what is letting go? Letting go is following the trail of whys. Asking myself, why do I feel this way? Where does this come from? Why did I experience this emotion? When was the first time I felt this emotion? And literally just peeling layers of the onion back and asking myself, is this really true? And what you'll find is oftentimes the answer is no. And so basically letting go is just tuning in to the experiences, tuning into those emotions, tuning in to that energetic inflammation and releasing the energetic charge behind it so you can become more present to the moment. Ultimately, that's the goal. Right now, I'm very present to the moment with you guys. If I was in my head, there's a saying, if you're in your head, you're dead. Then I wouldn't be able to be doing what I'm doing with you. And that's how most people live their entire lives. But letting go is just releasing all that so you can be a lot more present to the moment in any particular situation. And guys, there's really 4 things that you can do. You could suppress your emotions, you could express your emotions, you can escape, or you can let go of them. I got this from the book Letting Go by David R. Hawkins. He has another amazing book, Power versus Force. Amazing. But he talks about these 4 things that you could do with your emotions. Number 1 is suppression. That's where you bottle up your emotions, put them in the corner. Then there's expression. Expression is you going out there and verbalizing, venting how you feel, and that lets that releases the energetic charge a little bit, but usually just enough for you to feel a little sense of relief. But you bottle up the rest of it, and again, put it in the corner, put it in the recesses of your mind. And what happens is when you express that trauma or when you express those negative emotions, how you feel onto other people, oftentimes the truth is it can ruin relationships. And then number 3 is escape. So with escape, what do you have? You have video games, you have Netflix, you have alcohol, you have drugs. People will do anything to escape how they feel. And the only other option is to let go. And what is letting go? Like I said, let's go back. Letting go involves being aware of how you feel, letting it come up, staying with it, and letting it run its course without wanting to do anything about it. Releasing that energetic charge behind that experience, behind the thought, behind the feeling. Now, there are 3 things that run people, and it's approval, control, and security. These are 3 things that you have to let go of in order to get from here to here. Approval. Most people allow what other people think dictate what it is that they do. That's the hardest part of this business, is people get negativity and then they stop. People talk. Out of a group of 10 people, let's just say a third of people that you share this business with are going to be super excited. Let's say a third are kind of in the middle and a third are extremely negative. Some, not only are they negative that they don't want to do it, but they're telling you you're crazy and it's not going to work for you. And sometimes it's your close friends, close family, and I understand that that could seem very difficult. But the truth is, if you want to be successful in anything, You got to let go of approval. You got to be okay with not making everybody happy because it is physically impossible. There's a quote, and it goes like this: Stop trying to boil the ocean. Stop trying to make everybody happy. Do what you think is a win-win, a win for somebody else, and a win for you. And as long as you're doing that, then you're on the right track. Approval. Number 2 is control. The truth is you and I can control very little things. We can control our attitude and we can control our work ethic. That is it. And for me, I'm someone who was an overthinker. I'm somebody who was trying to control everything. And I think that most people spend most of their time trying to control things that you can't control. But why would you want to try to control something that you can't control? So you got to let go of control. You got to, trust God, trust the universe, and understand that everything is working for you, not against you. And then number 3 is security. Everybody wants this safety and security. But what helps me with this safety and security is, here's what happens. What happens is people stop taking risks. People stop taking the calculated risks that they need to take in order to get to the next level. So the way that I get past the security barrier is, this might sound kind of dark, but this is the truth. I just remind myself I'm going to die one day. And when I remind myself that I'm going to die one day, then I let go of that feeling for that need for safety and that need for security. Because the truth is when you go do something outside of your comfort zone, you feel like you're going to die. The first time I went to do a presentation, guess what? Like, my heart was beating very, very fast. I was sweating. I almost peed myself, right? That's not true, but you get what I'm saying. And I felt as if I was going to die. And it's very difficult to push outside of your comfort zone and push through that, right? So what I'm telling you is that you have to be okay. I guess we'll just say this. You got to be comfortable getting uncomfortable. Now, another word for letting go, some people say that it's not the best word to describe letting go. But another word to describe letting go is metacognition. If you look up the term metacognition, what it means is to become aware of one's thoughts and one's feelings. Have you ever had a negative thought or a negative feeling and you're just like, man, I wouldn't say that to my worst enemy. Why would I ever say that to myself? And then you realize that if you would never think that about yourself, right? So what is that? That's social conditioning speaking, right? It's not even your negative thoughts. That's something that was passed on to you. But when you become aware of those thoughts, guess what? You actually create space between you and the thought. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You have thoughts and feelings. You're the awareness behind the thoughts and feelings. And metacognition allows you basically to become aware of those negative thoughts and feelings rather than identify yourself with it, which allows you to let go. Another word is accepting and embracing. Can you accept yourself right now? Can you love yourself right now? There's this paradox between self-improvement and self-acceptance. For me, I was always so focused on self-improvement. Still am to this day. Obviously, you want to improve yourself. Obviously, you want to better yourself. But let me tell you something. It doesn't matter how good that you get if it's coming from the mindset of not good enough. I'm going to say that one more time. It doesn't matter how good that you get, there's always another level, if it's coming from the mindset of not enough. So just as important, if not more important, is self-acceptance. Loving yourself for who you are now while in the process of becoming better. You have to have both. So the mindset is, I'm awesome right now on the path to becoming more awesome. That's the way that you got to think. Is a 5-year-old not... a good example, let me think about it like this. Is a 5-year-old, is there something wrong with him because he's not a fully grown 18-year-old? No. The way for him to become a fully grown, healthy in the mind 18-year-old is for him to love and accept himself then, there, and now. Right? Accepting yourself. When you accept yourself, when you embrace yourself, what happens is authenticity pours through. And the truth is most people, I call it fronts interacting with fronts. What does that mean? What that means is most people just put on this front when they're talking to people. And it's literally like, there's no authenticity, there's no realness. You could just tell that people don't mean what they say, you could tell it's just fake, right? So authenticity, that ability to go out there and be yourself, is very, very important, but you can't do it unless you can accept yourself for who you are right now. Now, another word for letting go is forgiveness. And so we all have had people do very bad things to us. Terrible things to us. But the question is can you forgive? Not because what they did is okay, because forgiveness is something that you do for you. Forgiveness is releasing that energetic charge behind that thought. We've all done bad things to other people. We're human beings. And so, since you've done, not only can you forgive other people, but can you forgive yourself? Can you forgive yourself on a daily basis for the mistakes that you make? I personally was a perfectionist, and I had to do everything perfect. I could do this entire call and then ask myself, hey, think about all the things that I did wrong. But I had to come to the realization that I'm a human being. We make mistakes. It's okay. In fact, failing is a good thing, right? Failing, the more people think that success is over here and failure is over here, and in order to get to success, you got to get as far away from failure as possible. But the truth is, they're one and the same. Failure is literally those stepping stones to success. So what am I telling you? What I'm telling you is, can you forgive other people, and can you forgive yourself? And ultimately, like I said earlier, letting go is presence work. People will try to just be present and be in the moment, and that does help, and that does work. But what about letting go of everything that's holding you back from being present, so presence is automatic? Now, people think that letting go is passive. It's not passive. It's actually active. So you go like this: action, trigger, release, repeat. You take action. You do something outside your comfort zone. Maybe you get triggered. I talked about being triggered when I did my first presentation, right? Or maybe you you do something outside of your comfort zone. Trigger is when your response is disproportionate to reality. I felt like I was going to die doing that first presentation. I wasn't going to die, right? That's me being triggered because of that trauma, because of that social conditioning, because of that energetic inflammation. Take action, you get triggered, you release it, you let go, and then you repeat the process until eventually you're just very, very present to the moment right now. So that is the first thing. The second thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about today is the law of assumption. And Neville Goddard has an amazing audio. It's 26 minutes long on YouTube, something like that. And what he says is you need to assume the state of the wish fulfilled. If you were a Chairman 10, how would you feel right now? That's that feeling that you need to embrace right now. And so there's cause and effect, waiting for something outside of you to change how you feel on the inside, which you can't rely on. And then there's causing and effect, changing how you think and feel now, which changes everything outside of you. In the audio, Your Wish is Your Command by Kevin Trudeau, what he says, feel good now. Feel confident now. Be present to the moment now. Be happy now. And that changes everything. A lot of feeling good is just making a decision that's how you're going to feel. Now, there's 3 internal buttons that I push myself on a daily basis. Number 1 is fun. Number 2 is carefree. And number 3 is passion. These are internal buttons that I've learned to push within myself. And by default, the law of state transference states that whatever energy you have is reciprocated to you, is felt by other people, right? And so that's how everybody else around me feels. So right now, on this call, I am having fun. I'm gaining energy. You ever see people, they can just talk and talk and talk, or they can just work and work and work. And you're like, yo, how do they have unlimited energy? And the answer is because they're having fun with what it is that they do. As this call goes on longer and longer, I'm gaining energy. It doesn't make sense, but it makes perfect sense. Why? Because I'm having fun. I'm enjoying the process. So many people burn out. They're like, how do you not burn out? Answer is because I make everything fun. Are there times where you got to do stuff that you don't want to do? Of course. But even when that happens, I make it as fun as I possibly can. Number 2 is carefree. Being carefree is very important. Most people just take themselves way too seriously. They take the opinions of other people way too seriously. Let me tell you guys something. This is a funny perspective that I heard someone else say. Said this: we are evolved monkeys on a floating rock. Don't take life so seriously. Obviously, you want to take your goals seriously. But when it comes to a lot of the data, most people let the littlest things throw them off. Let the littlest things, just throw them off course, right? When the reality is you need to be carefree. carefree. If people want to do the business, amazing. If they don't, amazing. I'm 100% carefree throughout the day. And number 3 is passion. When you speak with passion, you're going to attract the right people. When people see that energy, when people see that belief, when people feel that passion, guess what? Of course, they're going to want to be in business with you. So there's 3 different paradigms. There's having, doing, and being. Most people, it's what they have that is what counts to them. It's what they have that determines their self-worth, their self-importance. It's what they have that determines how they feel. But what you have can be taken away from you. And then there's the doing paradigm. This is a little bit of a step up, but they're defined by what they do. And then there's the being paradigm, which is, I'm going to feel good just because. I'm going to be confident just because. I'm going to have fun just because. You have that mindset that what's interesting is on the other end is, I ask people, when people don't understand, they're like, I can't just feel good for no reason. I'm like, have you ever felt bad for no reason? And the answer is always yes. I'm like, if you can feel bad for no reason, couldn't you feel good for no reason? Right? Having, doing, being. Make the decision of who it is that you're going to be, who you're going to show up today in this business as, and who you are is going to determine what you do, which is going to determine what you have rather than the other way around. Now, another thing with assumption is the power of visualization. I think this is really, really key. Because your subconscious mind cannot differentiate fantasy from reality. So when you visualize yourself as whatever it is that your goal is, it cannot help but happen. Before I did a lot of presentations, before I did a lot of training, I ran it back through my mind over and over and over and over and over again. And that's how I was able to actually deliver. Because you get experience without the actual experience. You know what's crazy? What's crazy is you could take 2 people. One person that plays the piano and practices for a week, another person who visualizes doing it and doesn't actually play the piano. And you know what happens? The same thing happens between both those people. What happens is synaptic connections are formed in their brain from the memory of them playing the piano. So there's actual physical evidence in their brain that they've had experience playing the piano, whether they actually did it or whether they didn't. And what happens is your brain is no longer a record of the past. It becomes a map to the future. So that is a little bit of a breakdown, but let me share with you this quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza. He said this. He said, when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you'll collapse time and space, and the experience will be drawn to you. This is one of the most powerful things I've ever heard. When you combine a clear intention, you know exactly what it is that you want, with an elevated emotion, gratitude, happiness, whatever that is, you'll collapse time and space, and the experience will be drawn to you. This is science. This is quantum physics. This is a fact. If you have thoughts, they send out a what's the word I'm looking for? Energetic charge, right? When you have a thought, sends a charge out to the universe. When you have a feeling, it's scientifically proven that it's actually drawn. It's a magnetic charge, and it's drawn back to you. People say that what you think is what you attract, and that's half true. People say what you feel is what you attract. It's actually half true. It's what you're thinking and feeling. What you think and feel together creates what's called a state of being. The universe doesn't respond to what you're thinking or what you're feeling. The universe responds to who it is that you are being. Why do you think we say, I'm so happy and grateful now, elevated emotion, happy and grateful, that I am a Chairman 10? Clear intention. You know exactly what it is that you want. Now, the third thing I wanted to talk about, we talked about letting go, we talked about the law of assumption. Last but not least, we're going to talk about acting as if. And the first time I heard this from Bob Proctor, who's obviously one of the greatest of all time. And he said that if you're acting and talking and walking like whatever your goal is, that is what you will become. If you're acting and talking and walking like a chairman, that is what you will become. If you're acting and talking and walking like a 7-figure trader, that is what you will become. It can be no other way. Professional actors, they get the script, they read the script, they practice the script over and over and over until what? Until they become the script. And so here's what most people do. Most people, they're thinking down here on this frequency, right? They're thinking down here. They look at their results, they look at their bank account, they look at their health, they look at their current present results, And that determines how they think and feel. And they're thinking down here on this frequency, and they're wondering why they're not getting to what it is that they want. Your mind and thoughts must be focused on the same frequency as what you want. You need to think and act like the person that you want to become. I remember when I was a P2000, and I remember John Guaman was a Chairman 25. And if I was ever in a situation where I didn't know what to do, or maybe I was uncomfortable, or whatever the case was, I had to ask myself, like, yo, what would John do in this situation? What would Jason Brown do in this situation? How would Matt Rosa feel about this? You need to think and act like the person that you want to become. People say, fake it till you make it. And let me tell you guys something. If you're faking confidence, that implies that you're separate from confidence. If you're faking happiness, that implies that you're separate from happiness, which you're not. It's within you already, right? But what if the limited you, the fearful you, the person that you've been being, is actually the fake you? But you've been being fake and acting fake for so long that you forgot who you really were. That's why I say don't fake it till you make it. You got to act real, because that's the real you, until you remember who it is that you are. And then my very last slide is this. You got to be that person that cares the most and cares the least. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that, in this business specifically, how do you show that you care? You take more action than anybody else. How do you care the least? You're emotionally detached from the outcome. I strive to be that person that cares the most. I take more action than anybody else, but at the same time, I'm completely emotionally detached to things that are outside of my control. If they like me, amazing. They want to join, amazing. They want to quit, amazing. I'm taking more action than anybody else, and I'm emotionally detached from the results because I cannot control what I cannot control at the end of the day. So with that being said, guys, that is the end. Go back to your guys' chats. Drop what you felt was the biggest key takeaway that you got from this call. I appreciate you guys for spending the last 30 minutes with me, and that will end the entire call. If you need anything, reach out to me on Instagram. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you guys. See you guys on the next one.